Hey all, guess who's back? Back again. Guess who's back? Tell a friend. I know, lame, right? Well, I'm back. 012 Boku. Sorry if I've kept you guys waiting in limbo. Just a lot going on. There was a lot going on during Halloween, so I was very busy. A lot during November as well. Very busy there too. Work and things with the holidays has been tied down. Me trying to take care of personal stuff, holiday stuff. Trying to get my writing back on track because I am a writer. Which, starting to do that now too, which is A-okay and cool. And trying to do movie reviews for you guys as well. But I'm back. And also, I will not lie, I admit the one reason I wasn't posting anything for a long time too was our kitchen table here, me and my roommates, was covered with a bunch of different stuff for the Day of the Dead, for the holiday in Mexico, and a whole bunch of like different Christmas stuff. So we've been using our table to put a lot of things on, and I work from this table. And personally, if I needed to, I would do like you guys have seen in my earlier videos, go into my room. But I like my table, and I like working and doing my videos from this table. So hey, rock on this table, this kitchen table I'm at. But enough of that pointless banter. But you're all eagerly to await another movie review, which it is. Haven't gotten to the TV stuff yet because there's been no need. I'm still getting caught up with my movies. Not a lot of time to watch things, but it is, bam, robots. Yeah, a good movie. Now, robots. Once again, I know a lot of people are wondering why to choose that. Well, why not? It's from the same creators of Ice Age. It's from, I think it's Blue Sky Studios, ain't it? I think so. Let me take a look here. Yeah, Blue Sky Studios. And they also, besides bringing the too many Ice Age sequels, if I do get the Ice Ages, I'm going to get the first one. Like the first movie, I think that's pretty much all you needed, but apparently there is a large fan base to keep these movies going. I don't know where it comes from, but it's there apparently. But, hey, robots. It's a whole different movie altogether with that one. And Blue Sky Studios made this film back in, I believe, 2005. Really good movie, actually quite a fun movie. And I liked the concept. Like, if robots actually had living lives and were like people living in a world. So, I mean, love the concept and love the idea. And they don't, once again, go into explaining how it happens. It's just like Zootopia or Toy Story or all these other ones. It just exists. And that is cool. And with robots, great cast, great concept, great idea. Basically, it starts off with, I believe, a robot named Herb, who is played by Stanley Tucci. So, a very good actor to play the father of Herb, Stanley Tucci, who goes home, and he's running home, and he basically is running and happy and giving a whole bunch of nuts and bolts and catching things with glee and all the antics you expect of a father in a cartoon movie who has or is about to have a baby. Because he's about to have a baby. Herb is about to have a baby with his wife, and he's rushing home all happy and nice. And when Herb gets home, he runs into his wife, and his wife, who is played also brilliantly, because you have the normal sort of, not over the top this time as Stanley Tucci, but the normal Stanley Tucci acting, which is still good, because Stanley Tucci is a great actor, and I think Stanley Tucci is very underrated as an actor. But he's also played by the very funny and homely mother wife sort of lady by Diane Wiest. And Diane Wiest is also a very good actress, and I think it was very cool that she was playing the mother. And you could sort of see, once again, being that this is a cartoon movie, Stanley Tucci looking like Herb and Diane Wiest looking like the mother. So it was very well thought out and very well done for those two. And they have a son, and it was just delivered. It was literally, their son was delivered by a truck. You can see the truck leaving in the background of the movie, and just so great how that happens. And, you know, they have to basically say, well, let's make our son. And it's like, well, putting him together with directions and parts, and just, it was hilarious how that whole beginning came out, like literally make your own baby. So they literally make him, you know, forgetting the bits and pieces sometimes and all these weird things. And they make their son, who is on the cover here, sorry once again for the glare, boy, Rodney Copperbottom, if you see him there in the very front, of course. Rodney Copperbottom is their son, and, you know, he grows up idolizing many people because, I mean, he loves his dad. He loves what his dad does. His dad's a dishwasher at a local restaurant owned by a Mr. Gunk, played by a very, you know, once again, upsetting sort of heelish character voiced by Dan Hedaya. You know, Dan Hedaya seems to get a lot of those characters. He plays good guys, but he usually plays those offsetting people you just love to despise, and Dan Hedaya does a good job of that in this movie, even though his role is short. And, you know, he's a dishwasher. He likes what he does. Rodney looks up to his dad for that, and both his dad and Rodney love this show. I think it's Build Time or something like that, but I forgot what the name of it is. And it's to encourage new inventors to go to Robot City to you know, invent ideas by this inventor named Big Weld, who basically is the biggest inventor in the world and helps parts for robots and builds things for the cities and the world. You know, he's very well and famous. And Big Weld is brilliantly voiced by Mel Brooks. And Mel Brooks doesn't act as much as he used to anymore. And, you know, like people are saying, he's trying to get directorial films together, and there's still rumors of him actually wanting to do Spaceballs 2, which I believe people have now confirmed is true, and I hope it is, because I'd love to see Spaceballs 2. But anyway, for this movie, Mel Brooks plays a big bot named Big Weld, and he just gives Big Weld such great imagination. You believe this guy's an inventor. He's really fun. And for Mel Brooks not acting as much as he used to, it's just fun to see him in another role and in a good movie and in a funny movie such as this. And he played Big Weld really well. And to that credit, Rodney grows up idolizing Big Weld. He wants to see a need, fill a need, which is what he has to do to invent. And he tries all his different ideas. And he builds, towards the beginning of the movie, this Wonderbot to help his dad out with his work in the kitchens. And we see Rodney go through the progressions of building Wonderbot, and him, you know, as a kid, not having the greatest, you know, childhood life. He gets, you know, he grows up idolizing his dad. Doesn't seem like he has too many friends, and gets a lot of hand-me-down parts from other people in his family, from his male cousin, from his female cousin Veronica, because towards the end, before we get to the actual young adult Rodney Copperbottom, who just graduated high school and or college, we see, you know, that he wore like a skirt sort of outfit from his cousin Veronica, who, you know, Veronica female, you know, so it's sort of funny how they can be like change their genders, if you will. It's sort of a funny idea. But when Rodney gets older, he tries to, you know, use Wonderbot to help his dad out in the kitchen to build things, to make something of himself, because he's working with Mr. Gunk. And at this time, young adult Rodney is brilliantly voiced by Ewan McGregor. Ewan McGregor does a good job in this movie. He's awesome. He's really just, like, he brings so much to the character of Rodney that you don't think he would. And he actually does sound like a convincing sort of American sounding bot. Like, you don't hear his I mean, it sometimes comes through a Scottish accent, but you can see how his Scottish accent sort of stays out of the way for most of the film. So he really does a great job as Rodney Copperbottom. And, you know, Rodney tries to help his dad out. Something goes wrong with Wonderbot. His dad gets in trouble at work. Rodney gets fired from his job. Mr. Gunk basically calls out Rodney and says, "You'll never be anything in this town. You'll never be good at all. You're just going to be, you know, washed up kids." Sort of like these other bots down here that I'll get to in a moment. And Rodney, after he's put down by Mr. Gunk and after his dad feels bad for him, he decides to want to go to Robot City to go see Big Well, to get his invention patented, and also work on a bunch of different inventions to make his father proud, because he wants to help out his dad and he wants to make his family proud. And at first, the family was shocked he was gone. Like, his mother didn't want him to go. Mrs. Copperbottom didn't want him to leave at all, didn't want him to go in the outside world, because, it's your son. You always worry as a mother. But the father, who basically didn't get a word in, Diane Wiest had most of the word, is what's funny with her characters that she plays. She usually gets a lot of the word in. But when the father, Herb, basically says, look, I'll let you go here because I want you to achieve a dream that I never had. Because Herb wanted to be a musician. He never got to achieve that dream. But he wants his son to be an inventor that he wants to be, and to continue his life and to do what he loves. So he encourages him to go to Robot City. And that's the one great thing I like about Robots, is not only is this movie funny, this movie has a great idea about following your dreams, keeping to what you really want to do, and to, never give up on that. No matter how old you are, no matter how young you are, no matter what your physical ailments, disability, illnesses, or anything can be, never give up on what you want to do. Never stop following your dreams, because that is always important to, do what you like, even if it is like the smallest thing. Like right now, I mean, as a writer, I like and enjoy writing, and I love how I still do it. It's one of my dreams to probably publish something. Now, I haven't finished anything, and I don't get to write as a lot as I used to, because I admit, I have a lot of hobbies I like doing, like hanging out with my friends. It's a lot of time to try to jumble writing into a same setting. But still, I love doing what I do that, because it's one of my dreams to be a good writer. It's also my dream to do stuff like this for you guys on my YouTube channel and do movie reviews, because another thing I wanted to be is an actor and or movie reviewer. And I love doing reviews or talking to people about video games, movies, anime, manga, you name it. And granted, I know that some of my videos have gotten quite a few looks. Some of them haven't really caught on, and I know that, checking statistics, not a lot of people watch my videos for that reason. Probably because, just in front of you here talking to a camera. But, I'm still following my dream, and I'm still doing that. And maybe at some point it'll catch on, and I'll catch that big break, because I'll keep doing it, because you know what? Overall, it's fun. It's part of my dream. I want to do that. It's my freedom to express. And, I like how that film, or this film, Robots, focuses on that, to never stop following your dreams, to always believe, no matter how old you are or young you are, to keep doing what you yourself love. And that's just an awesome way. And besides that side tangent, Rodney hops on the blimp bus, because it's like a flying ship that they call a train, which isn't a train, but it's like a blimp. And he heads to Robot City, where there's a whole bunch of, funny things, fake talking watches, and just robots putting themselves on conveyor trays to be scanned through to make sure no weapons are being brought into the cities themselves, like inside themselves. So it's funny seeing a whole robot put himself on a conveyor thing going through security. There's also like garbled voice robots over PA systems you can't understand. It's like a really hilarious introduction to the city. And while he's trying to get to Big Weld Industries, he, runs into a bot on a weird, roller coaster ride, which is a real awesome visual scene. That's another thing I like about Robots. This movie is a great visual movie, and it's such a gem seeing what you see in here. And he runs into this bot here, this red guy, who is Fender. And Fender is a guy who he's a little freaked out by at first, is a little afraid of, and, doesn't understand him. But he's brilliantly voiced by Robin Williams. And I listened to the audio commentary recently for the first time ever, just on Robots. And they say, once again, like a lot of people have said about Robin Williams, you put Robin Williams in almost any movie, he takes off like a balloon. That's how fun the guy was. And I have to say, he was great as Fender. He was a joy again, hearing all his different voices, seeing how zany he got. But yet, when he needed to hit a point home, he hit it home in the movie. I mean, because, he was a great comedian, but he also had a few lines in this movie that really were heartfelt and heartwarming and, really made a lot of good sense. Like, he even tells Rodney, you're the first friend that I had as Fender. You know, he says, "You're the first friend I had because you know my last roommate jumped out the window." So you know it's like, you know, Robin Williams just delivers poignantly. And on another side tangent here, I will just say, with Robin Williams playing Fender in this movie, it's just sad to see that Robin Williams is gone. Such a great actor who was a great, you know, dramatist. He could also do horror. He was a great comedian. It's so sad how the man has died. And in my opinion, I know he wasn't in a lot like he used to be, but he was still doing quite a bit. And it's just sad that he's no longer around to have his talents be a joy for people. But I mean, regardless of his personal stuff and how his life was, I mean, it's just like with Chris Farley, John Belushi, and a lot of the other good comedians. It's sad that what happened to him happened, and you know he is sorely missed. And you know he he goes to the thing with Fender. Getting back on track here, he goes to the thing with Fender, gets to Big World Industries, runs into the gate guard he saw on the TV show as a kid. Tim, voiced brilliantly by Paul Giamatti, who gives a hilarious jerkish performance of as Tim. And the reason is because when he tries to get into Big World Industry, Tim keeps shutting the gate on him as a joke. And Rodney's getting ticked off, wondering why he can't get in. Tim says things have changed. We don't allow new inventors in. Stuff's different. You know, this is how it's run now. And Rodney refuses to accept it. He wants to see Big World. So he takes his Wonder Bot and, you know, through his weight and everything, they fly up towards near the window to where they break into the front office, to where they meet the big wig executives of Big World who are scared of this new manager, which he is right here. So this is on the front cover. That man right there, right next to Rodney, Ratchet, who, you know, looks like the good-looking business bot, who's actually hilariously voiced by Greg Kinnear, who did a great job as Ratchet, who, you know, you can just see is just a sickly, you know, like, I'm gonna be a two-fisted businessman kind of guy. And he also, like, does a lot of whining and, you know, all this weird suaveness. I mean, Greg Kinnear was so great in this role as Ratchet. And, I mean, he really played a good villain for the film. And the reason for that is Rodney gets tossed out, you know, like, made a laughing stock off of. There was one robot who did appreciate Rodney's genius, and her name was Cappy, who has an important part in this film, is important, but I don't think she really had a huge moment to shine. But she is a big part of the film. Cappy, who is voiced by Halle Berry, who did a pretty good job as Cappy. I mean, she really gave a naturalistic feel to it, and, you know, like, they sort of play off in the film that Cappy and Rodney like each other. Not hugely important, but still great for the film. And, you know, Rodney gets tossed out. And, like, we see how it pans down to the lower parts of the city where a bunch of old robots and junk get picked up by these evil-looking sweepers, like garbage trucks. And they head to this, like, you know, dark, sort of mortarish-looking machine place, and it's a bunch of workers breaking things up for scrap to make new upgrades, which is what Ratchet wants. He wants upgrades to replace parts, because if you need parts, you're a worthless robot. But if you can afford upgrade, you can be new. You know, why be you when you can be new? That was Ratchet's slogan. And we learned that through this, Ratchet is getting what he wants through the new upgrades to make money. And his mother, Madame Gasket, who is actually voiced by a man and also looks and acts like a man, played by Jim Broadbent, who did a very good job in this film. It's so, once again, he's funny, and how he just lands that, like, you know, I'm a woman, but yet you could say I sound like a man and talk like this. It's just hilarious, and Jim Broadbent did such a great job bringing Madame Gasket to life. And we learned that Madame Gasket wants all the broken down robots so she can keep making what she makes, and Ratchet can stay in the place that he can, and all that good junk, you know, the classic villainy that comes from everything. And, you know, they want to know how things go wrong, and you find out that Big Weld, the reason that Ratchet is in charge is because Big Weld is missing, and, you know, all those things that just go along with the huge plot that just keeps coming. And it goes along, and Rodney actually runs into Fender again, runs into his sister, played by Amanda Bynes, one of the very roles I like Amanda Bynes in, because I've seen her in a few things, and, with how her life has gone, it's like, it's sort of like the, sorry, Lindsay Lohan, Amanda Bynes, it's like the Lindsay Lohan, how her career stumbled and fell apart because of, once again, what happened in her personal life. And sad, really, that way, but hey, it happens. And, runs into, like, Fender, Piper, and all their friends who were, in need of parts, in need of a lot of things. And what Rodney decides to do is, like, he sees how all these broken down bots are being treated. He decides to fix them, but goes even a step further and tries to find Big Weld, which basically find out that, spoilers, of course, Ratchet is keeping Big Weld out of the way, to make his parts, he taught Big Weld that, hey, I'm better than you, money sells, you're licked, you're old, you're out-fashioned, and, there's, like, a whole thing where they need to try to get Big Weld and try to take down Ratchet and Madame Gasket. And overall, the film, it's great fun, good visuals, great voice cast. I mean, besides the main people that I mentioned, you also have, like, Harlan Williams in this movie, the guy who played in Rocket Man, the main character, Fred Randall, I believe. Drew Carey lends a voice to Crank, a cynic robot. Drew Carey is just hilarious in the film. You have like cameos from Paula Abdul, Randy Jackson, Jay Leno. I also mentioned once again Dan Hedaya. Earlier is Mr. Gunk. You got, James Earl Jones, who offers one log of dialogue in it, and it's a Star Wars reference that that I forget, the little voice box robot who is missing a voice box and needs a good voice box. He takes something and it sounds like Darth Vader. I'm not going to mention the line because it's a very simple line, but if you guys haven't seen the film, I would want you to find out. But it's like one Star Wars line, and then that's it. And that makes me go, how much did they pay James Earl Jones just to say that one line? Because he's so famous for Darth Vader, so famous for saying Star Wars lines. So it makes you wonder, how much did they pay James Earl Jones just for that one line? But it's still cool either way to see that and how they did it all. And I believe, like, Al Roker even provides a voice for the film too. Media weatherman Al Roker. And it's just so cool how they did all that. And overall, the film is just great visuals. Once again, the story of following your dreams and achieving things and, fighting back to keep those dreams is just so cool. There's a lot of cameo and other movie references. Once again, Robin Williams is a trip in this movie. He's great. There's a great, I think, see, who did the score for this movie? I know it's John Powell. John Powell does a really great whimsical, like, robotic score for this movie that's really done. There's a lot of great, pop culture music references. A lot of pop culture references, a lot in this movie, but they're all, like, subtle and not too over the top. It just makes this movie great. It's a great film. And it is filled with, quite a few good special features, and, the audio commentary was great to listen to. And overall, it is a underrated gem, because I know Robots is still around. You still see it in stores a lot, but it's not mentioned as much as it should be. And I think it should. I mean, it's a great, great movie. And, I love it. I'm probably betting if anyone is watching this video who loves it too. And I give this film, I believe I gave it a 10 out of 10. I gave Robots a 10 out of 10 because it was that good of a movie. And I mean, it was an enjoyable movie. I mean, it's funny, it's good, the story is great. I know me and one of my best friends who, I've known for years, loved the movie when it came out. We mentioned the movie's references and what it was about. And so overall, Robots is a 10 out of 10. Just, great work by it. And, personally, as I always say near the end of these, what did you guys think? I mean, do you like Robots? Did you love it for the voice actors? Do you love the visual style? Do you like the story of it? I mean, I loved it for everything. I mean, it's one of those great movies. And like I told you guys, I mentioned, some of the movies I've owned where, you know, there's been bad things in them. And I know, like, for the last few reviews, I've praised a lot of these films. And it's because these films are the good films that are the underrated gems. And I mean, not to say that every, you know, DreamWorks film is great, not to say that every Pixar, you know, Disney animation film is great, but, you know, there are some films that they make, in my opinion, that are just not as good. And Robots is one of those gems where a real good film that comes together that is not well known, that is a gem, but isn't a gem, is just like, wow, how did this movie not become more famous? But either way, Robots. Just leave your comments, tell me what you think, and I will be back. So this is 012 Boku signing off, guys. I'll see you again hopefully soon.